All right, all right, all right. I got a different pair of headsets, and I want you guys to tell me if they work all right. I tested them out earlier today, and they were fine to me, but not quite sure what you're going to hear. I will be interrupted briefly, but I will try to make sure that I give you your attention. Okay, let me see here. I got messages. Let me see who I need to greet. Meet and greet. All right. Thank you, everyone, for showing up today. I appreciate it. Some are returning faces, some are new faces, some are no faces. But I appreciate you giving me some time, checking this out. You never know what you'll see, you never know what you like. I normally start off with the weather because that's normal chit chat when you begin speaking. Let me see something. Make sure these messages. Am I coming in clear? Because it looks a little low to me, but I don't know on that end. Oh no, it looks pretty good. Okay, make sure this mute button works really well so I don't have to scream. Let's see. Oh yeah, it works perfectly. All right. So anyway, been kind of raining slash snowing, which was more rain because it was pretty nice. Pretty nice, I must say. We have to be very thankful in Chicago in January to have weather 30 anything, and it held a good 30. I think it was 34, something like that. And I should have actually had an umbrella today when I went out instead of just a hood on my head because it rained. It was too warm to actually snow. It was a little snow, but it was more so rain. Oh, thanks, Zero. I should have used your name as the test. Me, 000. Yeah, but it's pretty cool today. And I'll give you a little bit more chit chat. I went to get a consultation to see how much it would cost to get my hair done. Um, those of you guys that know or remember me from BGS Channel for Women, um, well, shoot, it's been a while though. It's been a year. I had went natural with my hair, and that was actually in honor of my hairdresser because he passed away, and I just could not allow anyone else to put a relaxer on my hair. I couldn't do it. I tried, I contemplated, I couldn't let it happen. So I didn't let it happen. So I'm like, well, it's the time to go natural. It's time for something new. So that's what I did, and it's been a year. And I just added color. When did I add color? Was this last spring? Yeah, I think it was last spring. I added color to it, and I'm loving the natural curly hair. I'm really enjoying it, and short too. Now in the picture you see, I had just cut it, but I kept, just the regular color of my hair, and I decided to put some highlights in there in the spring of last year, and I've been rocking that, and I've been enjoying it ever since. So I went to check because those prices that you see online, or if you call in, you get one price, and then when you go in, it's another one. And this particular place that I go, I don't go in the hood, and that has nothing to do with the fact of the hood, no shade at all, because you'll find a lot of talent there in your neighborhoods. Um, but I just don't go to the hood per se because I just don't like to travel and I don't like to wait. That's more of the whole thing is the wait. And when you make an appointment with in the hood a lot of times. Sometimes, you have to wait. Your appointment is at 10 a.m., but you don't get waited on until 10:30, 10:45, and then they're doing something else to someone else in between. So, and like, you pay for what you get. And so she charges more. So um, for the color, it's 110, and that is because of I'm trying to see how did she explain it because I'm trying to think, did she say because it was natural hair? I don't know, but the color lasts an entire year, so I can't even complain. Because this January, I still have some color, but I have been clipping my ends. So if I keep on clipping, I'm not going to have any color by spring. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and get my consultation, find out how much it is, and then go ahead and get it done. So sure enough, last year when I got everything done, because I went from zero to, from cutting the rest of the relaxer out, because it wasn't really shoulder length hair, but I had some hair. So I ended up chopping that off. Um, and with everything, I think it was 85. I think that's what she charges. But now that I'm natural and with the color is 110. The style on natural hair and the cut is 85. Yeah. So it'll be $105. So hey, it is what it is. So um and I know I've read a lot of stuff about color and people always talk about color. My color lasts. I gotta give it to it. That 110 works. Greetings, Ruby.
Good evening, good evening. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know. I'm just I want to say something, with pizzazz to bring myself in. Like, hey guys, I'm here. But no, I ain't got it today. What's up, y'all? Hey, Shar. Happy to see you. Happy Saturday. I don't
Happy
know. I got
Saturday.
nothing. I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, I was giving a little idle chit chat about I had went for a consultation because it's a little pricey where I go to get my hair done. And everything together would be $195. So I plan to go the end of next month. Um, because I know as far as spring, you got your head off your head, you're doing more, you're out there. So I'm like, okay, so let me find out how much it's gonna cost. So yeah.
Oh yeah, isn't that always a thing though? How much is that gonna cost? I want this, but how much is it gonna cost me? How much is it gonna set me back? And can I really work that in logically to what I'm trying to do? Oh
Right.
boy.
And it didn't bother me well at first because the salary I earned and my everything was lower anyway when I was working for this other company and then my hairdresser. So everything worked out. It wasn't a whole lot. I think he charged me 55, I think. He gave me discounts on the color, but I didn't pay a whole lot. But
That's not bad.
going to
That's not
this
bad.
place, and I get the same attention that I got when I went to him. You don't work on 10, 15 heads. You got to wait and all. I don't have to do that. My appointment is at one particular time. You may wait a few minutes, and it's just a very few minutes, but they get started on you right away. So,
Oh,
um, yeah. So you
okay.
pay for
Is it
what
a
you get.
black salon? No, I'm just
Yes.
wondering. Oh, okay.
Yep.
No,
It's a black owned salon. I was surprised too.
I never been to a black owned salon that I waited 2 minutes before I got seen. I was just saying, I barely go to white salons and I get seen quite that quickly. But I'm like a black salon, like the way that I set up the black salon is it doesn't matter what time my appointment is. I just take it as an all day thing. Like from whatever time my appointment's supposed to be, say 10 a.m. I just assume my appointment's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's what I just assume. I don't plan on getting there on time because I know they're not taking me on time. I know they're not. It doesn't matter how many times I show up on time, they never take me on time. And then when I get there, then they go, "You're late. money is time and opportunity and blah blah blah, and they try to sit there and lecture you, but they're still inside of someone else's head that you know they started long before your appointment started. So you know you were running that far behind. How dare you lecture me about my lateness when you weren't going to get to me on time, and I would just be sitting there fuming for an extra, what, half an hour, 15 minutes, however late I am, because I'm going to go in there. Okay, but how long are you going to be? Come back in 15 minutes. Okay. So then I go get myself a tea or something. You come back in 15 minutes and then you settle yourself in. You make friends with your neighbors. You find the good magazines. You know what I mean? Like you got time
Yeah.
before your appointment starts. And then your appointment takes a long time because they do a little bit and then you wait a lot. And then you do a little bit and then you wait a lot. So you're like right off the bat, this must be a really great salon because you're telling me an experience I've never had, which is you go in, and they go, your appointment's at 10 o'clock. You got there at 9:55. They're like, okay, it's 10 o'clock. Come on in, Shar. And you're like, really?
Yep.
Uh, on time?
That's yeah, that's my experience. And I was really surprised. And she actually just opened up a second location in Hyde Park. And so you have the two choices from the South Loop or the Hyde Park. Um, it's right there. I can walk to one. Well, I can actually walk to both, but I go where I met her, and that's fine. But she on time. She's the owner. She's been a stylist and owner. I know she's been a stylist for about 30 years, owner for maybe 20 something.
Okay. Wow.
Yep, and right on time. So that's why I was just saying earlier, you pay for what you get because
Mm-hmm.
you get there, you get your services, and you're out. You don't have to worry about them going to the back, taking a smoke break, got to talk to this person in the back, got to want to buy something from someone that's selling something that comes wandering in the salon. None of that stuff. You have to get buzzed in, all of that. It's no, oh, could you just do my hair? Because I want to, well, you got to get an appointment. Sorry, lady. So that's what I like about it. So it's really cool. And again, like with the color, because I was talking to my friend about the color, because this was my first time ever getting color. And I was telling her, I said, well, she told me it was 110. And she's like, what? 110? Oh no, I'll get a box, whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm going and get this done this way, and I'm happy with it because the color lasts.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Color last. The experience is good. I'll tell you something. A lot of people would not mind an okay color, not a bad one, but an okay color for a great experience, honestly. So the fact that you're getting, good color, it's lasting, good quality, and a great experience overall, yeah, it kind of makes it worthwhile, definitely. I would
Yeah.
just, I would love for them to teach that in hairdressing school, how to be on time. That's it. Like, I know anyone listening to this knows. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. How many people have walked into the barber shop and they made an appointment for something important, so they knew whatever, and they spent hours there. Like, men don't go to the barbershop. Even men who are like, they're not talkative, they don't know anyone there. You send a man to a barbershop, don't expect to see him for hours. That's just how it is. So I don't know. This is, I don't know who reared her, where she went to hairdressing school, where she learned her values and principles, but I wish she would pass it on. She should open a school just for that. Teaching black people how to be on time. That's all I'm saying. She'll make millions.
Yeah, it's high end clientele there too. That's a couple of
Ooh.
stylists. It's a woman named Barbara Bates, and she designed clothes, and
Mm-hmm.
she's done a lot of clothes for certain people. And of course, I couldn't think of not one. Maybe I could tell you R. Kelly, but that's the only person I can think of. But for many people, I think even some of the people that's on the news, she's made clothes for them. But she goes
Wow.
there because when I seen her, I'm like, I haven't seen her in a while, but as you age, you still look the same. I'm like, that lady looks familiar, and I'm like, oh, that's Barbara Bates. Okay, so yeah, it's she has high clientele there. It's really a nice experience. So that's what I was
Nice.
sharing.
Excuse you with your your high end salon. You're one of the high end clientele. You're like basically you're living on the other side of life. That's what it is, right? You got all these high end people around you. Char's just one of, Char's just one of them too, right? They look at her and they're like, oh girl, oh it's Char from Just Ask Char. Oh hey girl, we love you. That's what it's gonna be. Just wait. If it's not that yet, it's gonna be that soon. Trust me. Mark my words, y'all. Char belongs on the other side, so she's on her way. She's already got the stylist.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the first story and share my screen. The first story is about a black man went into a bank and he went to deposit his checks. He had two. Police on him. They believed, and that's all it was, belief, that his checks were
Mm-hmm.
fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the bank is TCF, and their wages are very low, just to let you know that. I thought about working for them part time at one time. Those wages are just very low. But anyway,
Mm.
um, this is in Michigan. I don't know about because I'm in Chicago, so I don't know what they got going on, but it's probably the same. They own something. But this guy is a veteran, and he had just um, finished a settlement for discrimination from his last employer. He goes to the TCF bank to deposit his checks, and then what happens? They call the police on him, saying, "Oh, hey, you sir, this check is fraudulent." And so he ended up calling his attorney again, and poor man, he's on television. I'm like, okay, this happened to me twice, same thing. Now I got to sue. Let me see if I can get the audio because I think you have to do it first. If I'm not mistaken, he can tell you the story better. Let's
Oh
see.
yeah. I would love. I haven't heard the audio of this. I would love to hear him tell the story.
Yes, just 1 second.
Look at you
Uh,
stepping up your game. What did I tell y'all? It's about to be one of them high end clients. I'm telling you. I told you. Mm-hmm.
uh. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Roll that beautiful Bing footage.
A man went to this PF bank location
Yes.
on Middle California to
Success.
cash a check he got from a lawsuit, but instead of that cash, he got the cops and just filed another discrimination lawsuit.
Not even 24 hours later, I'm going through the exact same thing.
Air Force veteran Santor Thomas is blindsided and frustrated by what he says happened at this TCF bank on Wednesday. Thomas says he went to deposit checks he got from a settlement for a racial discrimination lawsuit against his former employer, Enterprise Leasing Company of Detroit. But he says the person helping him said there was a problem verifying the checks.
I waited. She walked away. 10 minutes later, the Livonia police walk in. And Livonia police say, excuse me, sir, could you come here? I said, who, me?
Thomas was shaken up, but says he kept his cool while talking to police.
The bank called us and they said that these checks are fraudulent. And I said, are you kidding me? I said, there's no way.
People have to stop with these stereotypes. Just because you see an African American a male, set aside your stereotypes and conduct yourself like a professional.
His attorney, Deborah Gordon, is outraged, saying this is blatant racism. They've since filed a new lawsuit, this time against TCF Bank. A statement from the bank says, "We apologize for the experience Mr. Thomas had at our banking center. Local police shouldn't have been involved. We strongly condemn racism and discrimination of any kind. We take extra precautions involving large deposits and requests for cash, and in this case, we were unable to validate the checks presented by Mr. Thomas and regret we could not meet his needs."
This was not a mistake. This was the bank assuming and making their own assumptions of what it is and what it's not.
Meanwhile, Thomas closed his account and opened a new one at Chase where he had no problems depositing the checks. Now he's speaking out in hopes actions like this stop.
It can be a lot sometimes. Being African American is hard on its own, but when you're not doing anything and you get blamed for something, it's worse.
In Livonia, Veronica Meadows, Fox 2 News.
Wow.
Facts. I mean, I don't know about y'all because maybe you've never deposited a big check. Because I have. I've had to deposit a big check. And it's annoying. It's annoying when you're thinking to yourself, like, for example, we went when my mother-in-law lent us money that she never intended on having us pay her back. Right, so this was tens of thousands of dollars. What she did was we tried to figure out, okay, what's the easiest way basically for this to happen. And so they said, well, if you had an account with TD, since her account's with TD, what we can do is give you a bank draft. And then that way, basically, it's TD to TD. Like, there should be no problem with this. Like, they can literally call, verify through our branch that this money is valid. We've already removed it from the account. It is sitting there in promise, waiting for this to be cleared. So y'all can start your wedding planning tomorrow. That was what happened. We get to the next branch. They go, sorry, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Call the other branch. Finally, after about 45 minutes of my very irritable mother, they decide to call the other branch. The branch confirmed all of this, and they still refused to do it. What they did do, though, is they did deposit the check. It did clear very quickly. But, the point is, yeah, it can be annoying. I've had issues banking while black, so I understand the concept of banking while black. Whereas if I was a white person and this had happened, they would have just followed the original bank draft, bank to bank rule. It would have been fine. Because I'm black, you don't trust that I can have a valid check for tens of thousands of dollars. I must be setting up a Ponzi scheme. Like, I don't know. So it's difficult, but think about this, because I've done it before, because I know without a doubt that I've done it before, where I've deposited a check for not quite as much as his highest check, which was $59,000, because he deposited 3 checks, 59,000, 27,000, and 13,000. My highest check has been 40,000. So I understand it's around the same amount. And what they do is the same thing they do with any check. They will take your check. It doesn't matter if they think it's completely fraudulent. They will take that check from you and they will put it in the bank. Now, if they think you're a liar, right, they start validating it right away. If you're a liar, if it's fraudulent, the money never clears, so you never get access to it, right? And they call the police at that point, after it's already been confirmed through actual investigation that it's a fraudulent check, that it's been stolen, right? But that's actually the person whose account it is or whatever. They have to report it to the police. There's a process. There's a process behind this. They can't just look at the check and go, you know what? Based on this, I'm pretty sure that this is actually stolen. Because that's what they did. They went, when they were being pressed, they said, listen, there was a watermark we saw on the check that said void. And we weren't sure if that meant the check was void. Seriously? That's how it works? Like, I'm sorry. As a teller, okay, it's not your job to validate whether checks are real or not. Your job is to do a couple things. It's to dispense money. It's to accept money. It's to tell people details about their account, and it's to issue new bank cards. That's what you do, right? You weren't authorized to do anything more than that, right? So the fact that they did this, they decided, they basically they were judge and jury, right? An executioner. Yeah. That's what they were. They decided he was guilty before anyone investigated anything. It doesn't make any sense. Trust me, this is how people try. I know someone has done it with my account. Someone deposited empty envelopes into my bank account. It was a person I was shared a bank account with, a boyfriend, right? Okay. And before we had broken up, he had deposited empty envelopes into his, through his card into our account, and then withdrew the money because we had a policy where they held all but, say, $500 from the account, right? So you could take up to $500 out when you deposit something. So he would say he deposited $500 when he had deposited nothing. There was nothing in that envelope. and then take $500 out. And then, when they tried to clear the checks, there's no check. Okay, now we owe $500. So they cut off his card. They cut him off
Okay.
altogether because they realized it didn't come from my card. They didn't blame me. Now we had broken up. And 6 months go by, you see each other again, he's decided you're gonna try again, blah blah, right? And of course, me being silly, I fell into bed with him. Okay, wake up in the morning, and I woke up and there's roses, right? And
Oh,
there's breakfast in bed, and it was the sweetest thing. I was so touched. Um until I found out about a day, 2 days later, when I got a phone call from my bank asking me why it is that I think it's okay to deposit empty envelopes into the bank. And I go, what are you talking about?
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So to get the money to buy the roses and the breakfast and whatever, he deposited empty envelopes through my bank card. He had taken it while I was sleeping, went and did that, and then took a little bit of the money he had stolen from me, in essence, and bought me roses because I'm an idiot. So, I've seen different fraudulent things go on. And this is why I am absolutely 100% positive that this is not the way it works. You do not decide because there's a person handing you a check that you don't believe is real that you call the police there on the spot.
Right. I mean, no supervision. You didn't consult a supervisor, and if the supervisor came up with that idea,
Oh
what's
no,
really going
that's
on?
exactly what happened. Yes. Oh no. While the teller was sitting there, the teller calls it. You know what? This is a large amount. Hold on. I just got to call my manager. Right now, they're giving him a bunch of excuses while the manager is slipping into her office to call the police. That's what happened. So while the teller was keeping the guy busy, lying to him about a bunch of foolishness, about what he's got to do in policy and procedure, the manager is calling the police, which is
Oh,
what.
wow.
Right, that's why he was so surprised because he's sitting there dealing with the teller. Like he's annoyed, but he's like, "All right, fine. These are big checks. I get it. Fine, whatever." And so the teller was never aware on the phone for him to think, "Oh, they're calling the police on me," until the police show up and call his name, and he's like, "Me? What I do? I'm just here depositing
Right.
checks. What's going on, right?" Yeah. So how is that possible? Even if you were doing something, I'm telling you, if I steal a check, if I stole a check from you, and you reported it to the police right now, and before I had a chance to go and write myself a check for $10,000 and deposit it into, it's well reported, documented, all of the banks everywhere got it, so on and so forth. If I brought that check into the bank and they knew 100% at that point, because they already had the number, they had everything, they are not supposed to call the police. Did you know that? They're not supposed to do what just happened. What they're supposed to do is take the check. They're supposed to take the check, deposit in your account, say, nope, there's a hold on any like deposits of this high. So there's a hold, so it should clear in 3 to 5 business days. And then they're supposed to let you walk away. They're actually supposed to let you do that.
I
They're
believe
not supposed to do what they did.
I believe that because even I worked in a bank, but I never worked as a teller before. And just the training, they had some general training, and I remember nothing like that. You deal with the police. I mean, you think the police is gonna? What evidence does the police have?
Right?
As far as with the crime. So that's that's crazy.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. You let them deposit it. You tell them there's a full hold, right? You make sure that you got actual ID, that they are the account holder. So you get a driver's license, whatever, something with a valid photo ID, which you photocopy, right? You let them deposit it into their account. You say, have a nice day. You let them go. And then you call the police. If you know for sure, because the draft's been sent around to all the banks, that if you get a check with the
Hmm.
following number on it, it's been stolen, right? Then you call the police, you say, yeah, we just had that deposited into our account. It was by this man. They'll come and they collect that information. They collect the check, whatever, and then they'll go to the guy's house and make the arrest there. Like they do. What these people did is so out of order. It's mind blowing. But the fact of the matter is this check wasn't stolen. None of these checks were stolen. There
Right.
was no reason to think that they were stolen except for he was black depositing a lot of money. That was it.
Right. Isn't that something?
Right? Well, these don't look like the payroll checks because it's not a payroll check. It's very simple. It's from the company. You're right. It doesn't look like the payroll for enterprise rent a car payroll checks because it's not an enterprise rent a car payroll check. It's the enterprise rent a car risk assessment or whatever company deals with getting sued.
Right.
It's checks from them, but like you don't get to, and it's imagine you walked into the bank, right? You go
Okay.
to deposit some money and they look at your check and they go, all right, how'd you get this much money?
Uh-huh. Yep. That's
Excuse
what
you?
happened. Mhm.
Pardon?
In
Uh,
their head anyway. But go ahead.
right? Wait, hold on. In what world is that any of the teller's business? Think about that. What if you had to sit there and justify why it is that you got paid the amount of money you did? Someone had the right at the bank to ask you that, and you had to justify yourself before they would deposit your check and see if the money's good or not. Like it's none of your damn business. I could have gotten that on my knees. It's none of your business. You know what I mean? Like, how dare you? How dare you have the unmitigated gall to think because a black man got a lot of money that you have the right to question him about where that money came from? Where is that in the employee handbook? Someone show me.
And normally when they would do something like that, they'll start a new account. It wouldn't even be their own. That's what I've always seen.
Right, because you would have to be an idiot to do it in your own account. And then they go, well, he's only had the account since 2018. He doesn't use it all that often. You know why he didn't use it all that often? Because he had been fired, in a racially biased way from the
Right.
place that he worked. And as a veteran, you know what I mean? Clearly he was dealing with other things and, maybe he has other bank accounts, but, yeah, so he didn't do a lot of banking because he was busy fighting a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And,
And that takes a time. That takes time.
right. The account had been established, y'all. It's not, he didn't open it 5 seconds before trying to deposit the checks, which is, if that happened, you still don't have a right to do anything that they did. But I understand you might be a little bit concerned. But this account is over a year old. Well over a year old now. Definitely has done some banking on it. It's not flagged in their system in any way, shape, or form as him being a high credit risk, of him being a fraud risk or whatever. So the only risk there was his skin tone. That made him high risk. That made him a criminal because
And
he's
the black
black.
being a black man too.
Yep.
That's double.
Yep.
Yep.
Man, yep, that's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Because you know what? If and we have to be honest about this. If a black woman walked in with those checks, it would have been like a girl. Ooh, you got a payday. Ooh, I
Right.
mean,
Hmm.
is it possible that you might have gotten a little bit of, side eye or whatever? Yeah, maybe. But you know what? It's more likely you would have gotten that. They would have been able to accept a black woman walking in with that kind of payday more readily than a black man. And that's what it comes down to. We don't
That's true.
accept that. We don't accept black men in positions of excellence. We don't accept black men winning. We just don't in society. And it's really disgraceful that it comes down to that.
It is. We see
Mm.
this every day. Every day.
Every
Tired of
day.
it.
Right? Like this man, he is, a veteran who was what am I talking about, Shahir? Where they let you out with honors from the army.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't.
What's it?
Honorable. That's the only word I
Yeah,
could think of.
honorable. Yes, the honorable
Hmm.
discharge.
Hmm.
He's a veteran with honorable discharge. He's not a criminal at all. No criminal record. At all. You know what I mean? He had some racial discrimination happen to him at work, which he did the right thing. He didn't sit there and yell and scream at people. He didn't fight nobody. He went through the legal route, and he won. They decided, hey, listen, there's too much evidence against us. We don't want this to continue. It's going to become too public. We're going to settle it outside of court, which is why he wasn't able to disclose different amounts and stuff like that. The
Right.
company
Hmm.
did, right?
Yeah.
Because there was evidence he was winning. And so they said, okay, here, we're going to give this to you. So you know what? This is a man that by all standards is an incredibly upstanding citizen. He's a model. And now twice in his lifetime, after being an honorable veteran, he comes into this society after being an honorable veteran fighting for your rights and your freedoms and your
Right.
job and your money and everything you got. That's what he did with his life. And then he comes into this world, and look, twice he's been punished for being black in public, basically. Black while working, black while banking. Like he's punished for being black while working, and he
Right.
sues and he wins, and then he's like, yes, I got that money for, they were wrong, and he goes to the bank to deposit that money, and boom, right away being punished for being black while banking. Right? Like, what are, like, oh my god, enough is enough, people. Enough is enough. When we got to recognize we've got these stereotypes and start fighting them. And he can't
Uh-huh.
be one man standing on an island. He can't be. Like, we can't allow this to just be something that popped up and we saw it and we went tisk 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 and just let it disappear. He can't
Yeah.
be fighting this alone. We got to hear our brothers standing up with him. We got to hear our sisters standing up for him. We got to hear people start to talk about this and start to speak out against this kind of thing, because you know what, if we let him stand there as an island and fight it alone, then we make it seem like almost like it's okay, or we think it's acceptable, or, well, I don't really blame the teller. I might have done the same thing. I mean, well, look at him. He's black and he's a man. Come on, right? Because that's what it is. Either
Yeah.
you stand with him or you're standing against him, and we got to learn how to stand with our own when the fight is honorable, and this is an honorable fight.
This one is. I agree.
Absolutely. Wow.
Now, on another note for banking, I'm sharing a screen about a Dallas woman that discovers her bank account had more than 37 million in it, and that was a clerical error. And instead of going all up into it, the point is, what would you do? Yeah.
Girl, they would never see me again. I ain't gonna lie. They'd never see me again. I mm, what is my daily, like, what are they limiting me of removing every, I'm so serious. I don't care. Listen, I don't need that bank anymore. Right, if I can't go in and close the whole thing, right, and I'd be scared to go in and close the whole thing right away, because I'd be scared like they would catch me, or they might put something on hold. I have to look that up. So I'd have to try to figure out what's the maximum amount of money I can take out every day, through the bank or through the teller or whatever, without arousing suspicion. And I'd be on that tip until they figured it out. And the second they figured it out, and now they tell me I owe them however much I just took out, I'm gone. Bye. Later. You could try to sue me for it. You can lead on whatever you want. I'm gone. I will be in the Bahamas enjoying my life. Y'all have a good time.
Now, I would be real nice and quiet on the other end. What I
Hmm.
would end up doing is just letting it sit there. I'm not going to touch it. It can stay there for a good old year. All I need is the 365 days.
Mm.
After that, oh well, I will start taking some out, a little bit here, paying a bill there, doing this until the day come where they say, "Hey, that wasn't. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, well, how much is left? You can go ahead and take that."
Oh no. No, see.
Oh,
No. 365 days is too long. I couldn't listen. I know for sure they're going to figure out whatever went wrong. And I know for sure something went wrong, right? Like when if I own if I open my bank, I know for sure something went wrong. I'm not trying to call nobody to figure out where the money came from because I know where it came from. Something went wrong and I got money in error. Okay,
Right.
I
This
accept
is
that as
true.
being the truth. All right, yeah. How do I get that money? That's all I'm looking. Look, I don't need all 30 million. I don't. Right? I'm not greedy.
Right.
I will take $10 million for my trouble. You can keep the 27 million. We'll call it even. Finders
Right.
keepers, right? So by finders keepers laws, I'm going to take the 10 million. If I can get half of that money out, half, right? So if I can get 15 million, if I get to 15 million,
Okay.
I will call y'all and I'll say, listen, I think there's been a clerical error. Some money has been deposited into my account in error. There is approximately $12,000 if it left, or $20,000 if it left, however much is left, and y'all can have that. Well, I think we're gonna need the remainder. That is your problem. That sounds to me like a you problem, not a me problem. Okay? So you go
Oh
figure
wait.
out your you problem. I already figured out the me problem. Well, we're gonna need that money back. Good luck finding me. That will be the end of our call. If you can find me, you can absolutely have the money back. Absolutely. But good luck with that. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Right? 'Cause I didn't steal nothing. You put it into my account. I didn't go take it. You put it here. It's like finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Only it's even better than that. Because I didn't find it. I basically woke up in the morning and it was in my room, lying on top of
Voila.
my stomach. What am I supposed to do? Oh well, this must be an error. Oh no! Oh hell no! You don't look a gift horse in the mouth. My mama taught me that. It's mine. Bye. That's it. Nope. Decided.
Yeah, I must tell you. But I would, I'm be nice and quiet, and I'll just start. I'll give it a year though, because if you haven't figured out in one whole year about the clerical error, then I figure you're not going to. So then that's when I'm gonna start withdrawing and withdrawing
Mm-hmm.
and withdrawing
Mm-hmm.
and withdrawing.
I don't know that whole. See, I think you overestimate yourself because that's 1 year of putting up with your boss and their foolishness, and your coworkers and their foolishness, and your you know what I mean, your landlord and his foolishness. That is a year's worth
Oh,
of foolishness and limitations and whatever. That you think nah, this has been my life. I'm good with this. You think you've been good with this until there's $37 million sitting in your account. I don't know how good you'd be with it. What do but it's there. It's there, Would you be willing to
oh,
like blow up and burn every bridge? No, but like think about it for a second. Like how much how much bullshit or disrespect or unlivable circumstances or whatever would you really be able to put up with when you had that much money literally at your fingertips?
I can do it for 365 days.
You think so? You really think so? You really think so?
I really do.
Oh well, you are better than me. That's all I can say about that. Because I can barely do it now, and I know I don't even have like a one millionth of that much money. So I don't
Yeah, I'm be
know.
cool. 365 days. I have my calendar. I'll be marking the days down. I'll be figuring out what I'm going to, the increments that I'm going to withdraw on what, and work with it that way.
Mm-hmm.
May make a nice purchase where it's something I can return back and get the cash for it. I'll be planning all that out. It'll be a little at a time, but I will give it that calendar year. I would.
Mm. You want to hear something crazy?
Okay.
Before 2018, I'm telling you, 2018, I did a lot of changing and growing, and I learned about this thing called healthy selfishness. Before 2018, I would have called the bank and given the money back.
Hmm.
Would, wouldn't even have crossed my mind to keep it. I would have called the bank and been like, listen, I'm pretty sure a mistake happened. Pretty sure. So can you let me know, where did this money come from? Yeah, can you track it for me? I don't know. I think someone may have paid me something in error, maybe transferred me something in error, because I didn't have this kind of money coming to me. And I probably would have asked them to move it into, I probably would have opened a separate account and then asked them to kind of freeze that account for me so I don't accidentally spend it, for real, accidentally spend any of the money, because
Oh,
I wouldn't
wow.
want to accidentally spend the money and then when they take it back, because I know it's going, then I'm going to owe that money, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I would have been so all over doing the right thing. A lot changed between 2018 and now, because now I'm like,
Okay.
nope. How much of that money can I get and get out of the country before they catch me? That's all. That's all I want to know, and that's how much money I'm taking. Yeah.
That's a good plan too, though. That's an excellent plan as well.
I think it's a great plan. I don't know. In
Yeah,
this
it
day and
is.
age, damn.
You're right. It is.
Hey, listen. I will give the money back when I strike it rich of my own accord. Now that I have this basis of a massive amount of money, I could live my dreams. And my dreams aren't actually ridiculous, right? Like, I want to take some of that
Right.
money and like I always said, that if I won $1 million, first thing I would do is pay off the debts of my loved ones, so that way they would be able to live debt free for the rest of their
Okay.
lives. I don't want them to have to work anymore, like both my parents. I would have, like, on top of that, there would be like trust funds paying all of their bills, so that now they can just live their dreams, right? How do you want to live? What do you really want to do? You want to sleep for a year? Great, here's enough money for you to sleep for a year. You want to go and live in this house or that house or own this car, like whatever they wanted, they'd have. That would be like the very first thing I would do. So I would still want to do stuff like that. But, like, even my dreams, like, I wanted nonprofit organizations that help our youth mostly.
Okay.
Um, right. And so what the things that I want to do with that kind of money, like, I don't want to sit there and party like it's 1999, and, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Like, no, like, that's not what I want to do with the money. But the idea of being knowing, for me,
Uh-huh.
$20 million, I literally could live on that for the rest of my life, because there's no part of me that would be like, oh, well, now I can live like the rock stars. I don't want to live like the
Hmm.
rock stars. I want to live like me, exactly like I'm living now,
Right.
only stress free.
Yes.
That's it. Just, you just have to worry about those things, and I can make movements. I'm not limited by, like, okay, well, over the next 10 years, maybe I can save up this much money that could be a down payment on this for the business I want to start. Like, no, I would just be able to go, you know what, I want to do that. I'm gonna do that. All right, let's do that tomorrow,
Right.
right? Because there's nothing stopping you. With, of course, a yearly vacation. But yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to have that. Yes.
Yeah, and then you get investments, you get your stocks and bonds and whatever, you get your account in the Caymans, of course. Money that's going to grow over time, because you would have to be stupid to leave your money not growing. And then, yeah, you're good. You're set for life. I would make sure that I'm set for life no matter what I did, even if I literally did nothing. Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, no, if only. If anyone knows what kind of bank is the most irresponsible and the most likely to do that, i.e., her bank, someone let me know what they are and if they have locations in Canada so I can sign up. And yeah, we should be well on our way,
They gonna start there.
right?
Okay. Now, do you have a anything you want to share? I'll let you go next.
you know, let, let me find this I wanted to talk a little bit, because I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about, the new super virus that's come out of China. Everyone's scared of this new coronavirus that is coming out of China. It's clearly, not only has it killed about 70 people in China, it's now spread to, I know you got someone in Chicago with a confirmed case. You got someone in Seattle, Washington with a confirmed case. We just got someone in Toronto with a confirmed case today.
Mm-hmm.
So it has actually left, for sure it's left China. We know it's gotten to Europe. We know it's gotten to England. So it is actually coming around the world now, the coronavirus. And what I noticed as I discussed the coronavirus with different people is
Okay.
that they have no idea what it is.
That would be me because I didn't research it.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I had in my mind was, okay, what's going on because we have the election and all that. So let me see if this is just a mess. And then I just put in the back of my mind because I haven't been watching the news for a couple of days, I think. So since Wednesday, yeah, I think
Right.
Wednesday. So yeah, so I'm behind on that, but do share.
Okay, well, see what I wanted to say because, and I was talking to Mr. Research about this, and while we are talking about it, what I realized is everyone thinks, first of all, that the regular flu that everyone gets every year, it's not really a thing. It's not a scary thing. Kills so little people, but when we have these scary ones, the pig flu and the bird flu, that's the stuff that kills millions, right?
Hmm.
And I wanted to clarify point number one, which is that the regular flu kills thousands of people every year. That's actually what happens. The influenza, which it doesn't matter if the subtype is avian, pig, or our regular old garden variety flu. What they do is they attack different systems, right? Normally your digestive, respiratory, sometimes cardiovascular systems, and weaken them. And
Okay.
so people who are at higher risk, people who have breathing disorders already, who are the elderly, who are young, they're more susceptible to catching them and, not being able to fight them off. And that's important to know. But the second thing I wanted to talk about, though, with this new Wuhan coronavirus, right, is that it's no better or worse necessarily than MERS or what was SARS or the avian flu, right? Like we every time that we talk about these things, we talk about them like it's this weird green monster in the corner that no one's ever seen before, and it's the most scary thing in the world. That's not what this is. And that's what people
Okay.
are expecting. And I think because people are expecting that, they don't know what they're dealing with. And so they don't even look at it. And what I noticed last year, a friend of mine and my family, the same thing happened, actually, is because they thought that the new avian flu that came out last year, because they thought it was some green eyed monster, they didn't know what the signs and the symptoms were. And they ignored it when a family member got those exact symptoms because they thought, oh, that's just a regular flu. Oh, that's a regular thing. Right. And unfortunately, in the case of my grandmother, whatever, she passed away. She was in a
Oh,
weakened condition because she already had terminal cancer. And the lady who was inside of the room with her at the nursing home got this flu, that the
oh,
one of these deadly flus last year. Yes, but everyone just went. They didn't realize she had had the flu. So when she got pneumonia, they just went, "Oh, she got pneumonia. She's old. She got pneumonia." They just figured it was some type of bacterial pneumonia. They started treating it as such. They didn't recognize that no, this is that flu thing. So when she gave it to everybody, including my grandma, then it was like, "Oops, oh, right, oh, she has that subtype of the flu." And so what you need to recognize is that all of these flus, all these viruses kind of look the same when you catch them. All of them.
okay.
Um, so it's like catching a regular flu. First, you feel kind of tired and ill. You get a fever. You don't want to do much. You get a cough.
Right.
You get the sniffles. These are all the symptoms of all of the flus. All of the flus start exactly the same. The difference is based on the different subtypes, then something else is going to happen, right? Then your breathing gets
Okay.
harder and harder. For example, with a lot of these coronaviruses,
Yeah.
it attacks your lungs. So that means your cough is going to get worse and worse. It's going to be harder and harder for you to breathe. You know what I mean? You're going to be more and more listless. Not You're not getting better after a couple days of sleeping. stuff like that. Some of the other ones, you might start throwing up. You might start being dizzy all the time, right? The point is, and here's an important point, just because you got a flu shot, I'm telling you, you get a flu shot, that protects you from one kind of flu. There's like
Okay.
50 kinds of flu every year. So you can get a flu shot every year and then immediately catch a completely different flu every year. That this is the truth.
Yeah.
So when you start getting these symptoms, you start feeling a little bit tired, woozy, dizzy, you get a high temperature, don't go to work, please. Don't go out into public. Don't go, because that is when you are infectious. Actually, you know what? And here's the crazy thing. This is another thing people don't know. Is the second you catch this, before you feel symptoms, you are infectious.
Yeah.
So it means you've already been spreading it. But now that you're starting to feel a little bit of symptoms, don't just brush it off, y'all. Remember that this is how these things spread from China to your next door. Is people brush things off and just keep living their lives, and then they go and they infect another 10,000 people. You're patient zero in your neighborhood and you didn't even realize it. You got to be a little bit more careful than that. Remember, these are airborne. You know what I mean? Be a little bit more careful and considerate of the fact that you might be able to tolerate it. You might be able to fight it off. I knew a person, her fiance, her two kids, and both of her aging parents all got, oh, and her brother all got the avian flu, the bird flu, all of them at the
Wow.
same time, and they all survived, right? So you might
Okay.
have that constitution, but your next door neighbor might not. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's what we got to do. What we got to do is, you don't have to sit there and research all of these viruses, because you know what? They're all basically the same. I'm telling you that they're all basically the same, and the regular flu is just as deadly to some people
Then
as the
others.
SARS flu is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's about us being careful and considerate. It's about us teaching our kids, and reminding our youth about little things like coughing into your elbow instead of into your hands, and then touching everything in the world. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because and why do you want to do that? Well, because when you cough, you're coughing out the particulates that are all airborne, right? Which and then people breathe in the cough, and then boom, now they've got it. But you cough it into your hands, you're, now your hands are covered in it. You're going to touch a bunch of stuff. People are going to touch stuff. They're going to rub something. It's about teaching those little things. It's about saying, hey, listen, you know what? I can't really afford to take this day off. I totally get that, but it's better safe than sorry. Don't you think? Sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I do, but I do also know that the way the economy is, people don't get paid for taking off. They cut sick days, all of that. You got to work 7 months before you really get a day off.
Hmm. That is true. That is true.
And the last thing a person's gonna do is take a day off. But
But you know
yes,
what
I
you
do
can
understand what
do?
you're saying.
You can wear a mask. These are
Yes,
those hospital
that would
mask
help.
things for, like, honest, right? That's what they do, and it's like literally like you can buy like a pack of 5 or 10 of them for like $1, the dollar store, right? You wear that mask and it protects everyone from you, and you could say you want to protect yourself from everybody. You don't have to sit there and announce yourself as being, diseased, but that's what they do actually in these places, like in these closely packed places, like the Chinese inner cities and stuff like that. They all start wearing masks when they know another one of these things is going around. They all start wearing masks, whether they've got it or not, right? Because I just don't want to breathe in everyone else's particulates. The best way of protecting myself is by making sure I'm not breathing it in.
Okay.
And if and like people do that, I know it sounds crazy, but people actually do that with me and for me. So because I'm incredibly, like, I have a really weak immune system. I catch everything. I have another flu. I catch everything. I haven't even gone anywhere and I catch everything. I've not literally seen another physical human being, right, besides my
Uh-huh.
husband, in like forever. And yet,
Hmm.
somehow, by me going out into my hallway, into the elevator, into the underground, into a car, and then doing the same thing in reverse without seeing one other human being, I caught another flu, right? I have a very weak immune system. So people, when they have been out and about a lot, especially during the winter, if they're feeling the littlest bit run down, if they're feeling like they got a little cough, anything, they wear a mask and they'll just show up at my house with the mask on.
Oh, that's really nice then.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And at first it felt kind of crazy, but it's helpful. It really is. And I started realizing that. So with these children that my friends keep producing that I do love them, but they're all disease magnets. They just walk around running noses and coughing their whole lives, like it seems like. So I wear a mask when I'm around them, because otherwise they infect me every time I see them, right? So it's like, as crazy as that sounds or seems, we have to remember how quickly these things can spread. A disease that started in China a week ago is next door to you right now, Shar. Like, let's think about that.
Wow.
Like, it didn't start a month ago. It was like a week ago that the first case was confirmed, and it's in your backyard. It's in my backyard. We
Yeah, it
don't
has
live
the
that close.
second. It says they diagnosed a Chicago woman, which is the second case in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I do see that, and it's still 34 degrees. Wow. Okay. All right. But yeah, I do understand that, and I know a lot of people, and the way again with the economy, they're not taking off, and they don't know anything about a mask and nothing else. But I do like that we've mentioned it here, and maybe it'll spread the news. So yeah,
Maybe, because I'll tell you that, and it has happened before, without there being planes and the easy accessibility and traveling that we have now. People, literally, the last time that a flu went to pandemic levels, it killed how many millions of people worldwide? Like 50 million people or 150 million people worldwide. One
yeah,
flu, all at one time. And that was before there were planes and trains and automobiles, right? That was before there was organized work like there is now, and yet it killed 150 million people worldwide. Look how quickly things are getting out there, right? So it's kind of like, it's one of those things where if everyone's not doing their part, and you're not doing your part to protect you and yours, and everyone isn't doing their part to just kind of care a little bit about their neighbor. Like, okay, I get it. You can't just stay home. You got to work. I get it. Fine. Wear
yeah,
the mask. Wear the mask, because you're sick and you don't want to
right,
infect the whole entire office. Right? And because you don't know. You doing that, you think about it this way, as terrible as it is to say, if you had a flu and you're still contagious, right? You showing up to work sick is going to infect 20% of your workplace. Now, out of all those people that you infect, they're going to go home and infect their children and loved ones at the very least, not to
hmm,
mention anywhere else they go, while they're silent carriers, while they still don't even know they're sick yet, right?
right,
That could include elderly parents they're caring for. That could include children that you are godparents to. That could include a lot of different people that you are walking around right now and infecting because you're like, well, I can't miss work, which I get. I get that you can't miss work, but you know what? A 5 pack of masks for $1. That's a whole week of work for $1. You could do a fresh one every day, and you wouldn't really need a fresh one every day, just to make sure that you're not passing your flu around to everyone else. And I mean, again, we got to be scared of this pandemic concept, not because the way everyone thinks, oh, well, it came from a pig or a bird, and that's the strangest part. Well, no, every coronavirus comes from animals. That's the way these work. That's why they're scary, because your body can't automatically recognize them because they have some animal DNA. So it allows this virus to get in and just go poof, and blow up all over you, right? And so it's like the scary part is how quickly it can spread. And the scariest part is they can't keep up with how quickly these viruses are mutating and coming. And so, the big one's coming soon. There is
yeah,
actually a documentary on Netflix. It's called Pandemic. And so anyone could watch this. It's like a docu-series kind of, right? And so they're trying to teach people now, because they honestly do think that the next big one that's going to hit and kill 150 million people is right around the corner. And it might even be more than that. So we all got to learn, and I feel it is my civic duty to do my part. I told y'all, now you do what you want with it, but I'm gonna keep hiding in my house every winter. All right.
Okay.
I'm
All right. Um,
just
and
saying.
you're funny. The next thing I had was I wanted to speak about this heroic young lady. And then I have a comment. I want to always bring up some type of law and charges and fines and all of that I come up with. But I'll read this story quickly. There's four people that are facing misdemeanor charges after an SUV with three kids inside was stolen in the West Ridge neighborhood Sunday night, Chicago police said. Let me see, when did this happen? This was in December, December 23rd. Okay. The children were found safe and reunited with their family, police said, thanks to quick thinking of the big sister, who was simply trying to look out for her younger siblings. A 49-year-old man left his 2018 Toyota Highlander running around 11:20 p.m. in the 3100 block of West Devon Avenue to pick up food from Domino's Pizza. Inside the vehicle were his three children. He had two daughters, ages 5 and 16, and his 10-year-old son. Two suspects drove up in a 2011 black Toyota Camry. When the passenger got out the Camry and got inside the yes, I got inside the Highlander and fled with the kids still inside, police says. Okay, so the young lady, not, no, I don't know how to pronounce her name. It seems like it's Amana, but I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go with it. Amana said she was just about to fall asleep when a stranger got into the driver's seat, and she says this dude just jumps in the car and he looks back and I realize it's not my dad. So I go, "Who are you?" She recalls, and he started driving really fast, going in and out like a zigzag pattern. According to police, the Camry was possibly stolen earlier in the day, and the young lady, she panicked and act quickly. She says, I started yelling. I'm like, who are you? And he goes, get out or I'm going to shoot you, she said. Despite that, she knew she had to fight for her family and their lives. I was just scared for my life. I didn't know what to do, Amana said. I was in panic mode, like I wanted to cry, but I knew I had to do something. So she kept on screaming, woke up the other two, um, which was her 10-year-old brother, and she told the guy, okay, fine, I'll get out. And then she started hitting him with the iPad. Together, the siblings
Wow.
fought the thief as the best they could from the back seat of the Highlander. My phone was dead, so I couldn't call 911, Amana said. But I seen my dad's phone in the passenger seat, so I was like, I'm gonna try to strangle this dude from the back because I was right behind him. As she tried to restrain the car thief behind the wheel, Amana called 911. She said that he jumped out the car and into the other vehicle with the other people inside. And police found the abandoned SUV. Um, I don't know what its address is. With the kids inside, the suspect was picked up by his accomplices in the Camry. The Camry was stolen from a gas station. Blah blah blah. But anyway, they found the four guys, took them into custody, and they fled as they tried to flee the scene. And their ages were 19, 22, 19, and 16. Now, this is what bothers me. They have a misdemeanor count of criminal trespass, and that's it. That what
Wow.
that's what bothers me. So I want to incorporate a new law. I hope they will listen to me. I'm going to see who I can talk to about these things. Anytime you go and steal a car and there's a person inside, that should be an automatic kidnapping charge right off the bat. I don't care you didn't see a child,
Mm-hmm.
adult, I don't care who's in there. As long as it's a breathing person. I'm not talking about with a dog. I know y'all, hey, calm down out there. If it's a person, automatically they should be able to get that type of charge. I bet you that is going to cut down on these folks jumping in cars and even stealing them, especially with someone in it. I think it would help.
Actually, yeah, I agree. I mean, in and of itself, that is absolutely true. It's kind of like how ignorance of the law or something is not a defense. Ignorance of the kidnapping is not a defense. Just because you didn't think what you were doing is kidnapping, doesn't mean that it shouldn't be kidnapping. Just because you went out to you didn't plan to kill someone during the robbery, but if you kill someone during the robbery, it's still aggravated murder. I think it should be exactly the same thing. That whole charge of no, one way or the other, you kidnapped someone. That's what happened. You you bodily removed someone against their will
Yeah.
without their consent from one place to another. That is kidnapping. And I'll tell you, they are normally
Mhm.
very, very quick to slap that charge onto black children for not technically, whatever they did wasn't technically kidnapping. I'm reading what they did. The person didn't technically kidnap, like that horrible thing. I'm not saying this was an okay thing to do. These kids are little terrors and they deserve to be in jail. Um, but they took that mentally retarded white boy and decided to punish and penalize him for being white, basically. And he was mentally retarded. He did not understand what was even happening. But they didn't technically kidnap him. He walked there willingly. They just didn't really allow him to escape their attacks. But they didn't technically kidnap him, but they still slapped kidnapping on all those kids. Now, if you, at that time, why? Because they planned on doing a crime. They planned on committing a crime, and they were keeping him forcibly against his will. So, if they've already used the law in that way, to me, that should be a blanket policy no matter what.
Yeah, it will make a big difference.
Hmm.
You're always trying to incorporate something that may not be useful. That would be useful.
Yep, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I mean, it's terrifying. Can you imagine right now? I don't think it's okay for us to just leave our children unsupervised in cars, but I gotta be real. I don't think it's as wrong as I should think it is. And the reason why I don't
Yeah.
is because I, as a kid, I was left in a car a lot. To be real, I was left in the car a lot as a kid. I really was. I was left sleeping, and I would wake up, and my parents weren't there, and I'm like, all right, well, I got my book, I got my Game Boy, I got something to entertain me. I knew I wasn't allowed to leave the car. I knew I had to leave the car doors locked. I might even roll up the windows from the point where they were down. But this is back when windows were not automatic. So the car could be off and the door's locked, and I could just roll the windows up and down at will. So if I got hot, I could roll down a window. But then people would approach and I'd roll it back up because I was scared of people kidnapping me. And I realized people could reach into the window and open the lock if the crack was big enough. So I was always scared as a kid. I was very paranoid. But the point is I got left in cars a lot when I was a kid. I did.
Okay.
So maybe I don't see it as wrong as I should. But with that being said, listen, there's reasons why people leave their kids in a car for 2 seconds. Like literally, okay, I'm gonna, I gas pump right there, kids strapped into some seatbelt thing or whatever, and I'm just gonna go run in and pay the gas clerk for a second. I'm not going to sit there and go through this whole entire thing in the middle of the winter to unbuckle my kid or whatever it is to go walk into the gas station for 2 seconds to pay this guy to go back and go through the whole hullabaloo of getting them clipped back in. There's reasons why you leave small children in cars, let alone your slightly bigger children. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna go do this. Y'all don't need to come with me. All right, fine, stay in the car. They're 15 or 16, you know? Or I'm a grown ass woman, and trust me, this has happened to you. Oh, you're gonna go into I don't feel like walking through Walmart because y'all know me and walking. So, okay, I'm just gonna lie here. Now I'm in the back seat. I'm lying here under a bunch of covers and coats and stuff like that. Now you want to steal my car? You didn't see me. Right? There's all kinds of reasons why a human being could be left in a car alone, whether they're small or big.
Yes, that is correct.
And what we absolutely cannot do, we cannot say blame the victim in this case. Well, you should have known that there is a
Mm-mm.
0.0002% chance that someone could try to steal your car and therefore the person inside would be kidnapped. Like, what? Like, no.
Not at all, because people they run their households different ways. The teenagers, those the oldest ones, they're gonna babysit their siblings, the younger ones, while mom and dad or whoever goes to work or whatever they're doing. So no, you can't just run someone's or try to run their household the way you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. That was a young lady. Um, now it's December. It was cold. Not sure how that day was, how cold it was. Of course, he gonna leave the car on. He got a young one back there sleeping. They got the little heat on. They're chilling.
Mm-hmm.
So I
No.
don't wouldn't blame the victim on that either. Because what if the person had the car off and had it in the parking lot or
Mm-hmm.
right in the driveway? I mean, whatever. Still, it's no reason for a person to try to take someone else's car. Well, we know what the reason is, but if a child is in it or a person, a human being, automatically you get a kidnapping charge
Yeah.
because that misdemeanor. What is that? You're gonna give them a slap on the wrist and they're gonna be at it again. Oh, let's try to get the next car.
Right.
Uh-uh.
Like, what if while they were stealing the car, and they were pulling out because they're scared of getting caught, and then they accidentally kill someone by hitting them with the car? Would you be like, ah, well, they clearly they were only trying to steal the car? No, you would charge them with murder, right? Because they hit someone with the car and they killed them. It's the exact same thing. Every crime that is done, and while you are in the commission of another crime, I don't care if it was intentional or not, should be tacked on to that, and it should be held firm. I don't even see why it's not. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me why that's not just already an automatic thing.
Right.
Hmm. I
That's something to look
wonder.
into.
I
Hmm.
feel like I feel this is the feeling, but I feel like I've heard like a story like this where someone's baby or child this happened to, and someone, like how they come up with these laws like Megan's Law or whatever, right? And it's based on what happened to someone's kid and they start lobbying for it. I feel like that's actually happened. And if we looked it up, I mean, I'd have to do my research now because I don't remember, but I feel like if we looked it up, we would see that at some point someone did start lobbying for that. And I have no idea what would have happened to it. Maybe it's still in the works. Maybe it got poo pooed like so many of these things do. But yeah, I feel like probably, if not one, maybe even several, parents have actually tried to do that. So I wonder what's going wrong that
Yeah.
this hasn't already automatically applied. Maybe it's because little white boys are more likely to do this and they never want to pass laws that are going to disproportionately affect their youth. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. We'd have to look into that too, but that seems like it would be a reasonable reason why, because
Yes,
that's
I
what they
agree.
do.
Hmm.
That's what they do.
Yeah, it may be out there, but that's what came to mind when I was reading this, and that girl was brave, and I just cheered her on. She said she started hitting them with the iPad. The girl used what she had. She was trying, so
Hmm.
I thought that was so sweet, and I'm glad they were okay. And again, they need to lobby if it's not, they need to for kidnapping charges for stealing vehicles with people in it.
Yeah, this is interesting. We should look into this definitely.
Yes.
Hmm.
Let's see. And then I guess it's time.
Oh wait, I have one
Oh, you have
too.
one? Okay, go
I
ahead.
do have one. Um, and so I see. I wish I don't know. I don't know if like me playing sound would do the same thing that you playing sound does, because that was super cool. In all fairness, but it's another hair discrimination case.
Okay.
Right? But I like this one. I like this hair discrimination case because it's not against girls. And this is one of those things where I've actually heard people say like, oh well, girls, why are they making everything about hair, and and it's like, hey, listen, hair's not only important to women. We do know men who have dreadlocks, obviously, and braids, long hair, and they appreciate their long hair. And in this case, this is a young man, right? And see the title here. If this Texas student doesn't cut his dreadlocks, he won't get to walk at graduation. It's another example of hair discrimination. Some say, but of course, you know who the some who don't say is.
Right.
Yeah, obviously, right? And so can you see the writing on the screen? I
Yes.
can't tell if it's too small. Okay, great. So Barbers Hill Independent School District, which Arnold's high school is a part of, has a dress code. It dictates the usual things, such as the length of skirts and shorts. But with hair, it goes a step further. Though the district does allow dreadlocks, male students' hair cannot extend below the eyebrows or earlobes and must be kept shorter than the top of a t-shirt collar. Arnold's dreadlocks hit below his shoulders, though he puts them up in an effort to comply with the dress code, his mother Sandy Arnold told CNN. Throughout high school, it hasn't been a problem. But just before the start of winter break, so he's gone through all of high school with dreadlocks. They're not new. Just to clarify, he didn't just come out with, oh, I decided I want dreadlocks in 12th grade. No, he's gone through 4 years of high school at this school. It's been fine. But just before the start of winter break in December, the district had some news for the Arnold family. Cut the locks or face the consequences. Arnold, 18, hasn't been prohibited from attending school, the district said in a statement to CNN, which we'll see in a second is not 100% true. He has, however, been told he can't walk at graduation if he continues to not follow the code. He'll still be allowed to graduate, just barred from spending the moment with his family and friends. In the meantime, Arnold has been hit with an in-school suspension, his mother told CNN. So he hasn't been barred from going to school, but if he goes to school, he has to sit there and on his in-school suspension, right? So you
Okay.
think about this, though. For him, and we'll skip down a little bit. Cutting his hair, though, is not an option. Arnold's father is from Trinidad, and growing dreadlocks is a common part of the culture. But either way, Sandy Arnold said that shouldn't matter. He should get to choose who he identifies himself as, and he shouldn't be discriminated against. You don't tell girls they can't have short hair. It's so much bigger than just DeAndre, right? And I want
Uh-huh.
to see here. I don't think it'll play, but if we can just can you hear this?
I do not.
No, I didn't think so. But I wanted to see if we could get just the image going of him so you can see his hair. Because I'm like, he's not sitting here, right? And he doesn't have, not that this should matter. I'm not saying this should matter, right? But it's not like he has like dreadlocks that are, unkept, and they're, really disorganized looking or anything like that, right? Like you can literally see here his hair is clearly they're little teeny tiny dreadlocks. They're clearly really well kept. They're well twisted. They're neat. They're clean.
Yes,
Like,
I can see.
right? I mean, you can really see here that they've done a really good job of caring for his hair, and he's very proud of his hair. But look at his father's hair. So this is more than just a cultural trend. He's clearly
It's a
not being
family.
right. This is his father very likely is actually doing this from both a cultural religious standpoint as far as the Rastafari religion, and this boy's hair has probably never been cut once since birth. So it's literally not an option for him. And a lot of people don't recognize this when they do the dreads for, just culture because I'm black and, I appreciate it or whatever. But for some people, this is literally, you never ever cut your hair, especially for boys. It's more important for boys than it is for girls, actually, because your hair is your crown, right? It's a source of literally your strength. Like when you talk about Samson, it's the same concept. So for you to cut his hair would literally be like cutting off an arm or a leg. And so for them to say, like, listen, we are going to take this from you. He's been willing this whole time. Okay, well, to comply while I'm at school, I will never allow my hair to be down. Right. So in that way, it's not gonna touch his collar. Right. It's not going to sit there and it's not going to distract anybody. He's not doing crazy things to it. He's not dyeing it purple and gray. Right. All he wants to do is continue on with something that is both culturally and religiously relevant to him, and then just graduate with his class. Something he earned. He worked really hard at school. He clearly got the grades to graduate. He's clearly not a behavioral problem, because if he had any behavioral issues, the school would have brought it up, right?
Right, definitely. That would have been one of the first things they put up there.
100%. So that
Problem child with dreadlocks.
exactly. So
Troublemaker with dreadlocks.
yes.
Right.
And so they had nothing. They had nothing they could grab on and be like, he's a bad kid. Nope, nothing. And apparently there actually have been exceptions and exemptions made, religious ones or whatnot, in this particular school district. And, now the bigwigs are playing dumb about that. Because really this has nothing to do with they don't care. They don't care that this for him is religious and cultural and not an option. This is for them about power and slapping him down because he's black, and how dare you not bow to us. That's all this is. And, when I saw this, yet another story. There's been so many of them. We keep seeing them over and over and over again. And a lot of times when I hear us bring these things up, honestly, I hear guys kind of be like, well, girls, why are you guys making so much issues with your hair anyway? And, just blah, 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 blah. And they don't realize, like, no, this discrimination is also happening to our young men. And that hair really is a bigger factor than, people who've kept themselves damn near bald their whole lives. Yeah, maybe they don't get it. But hair can be a really big deal. It can be a source of strength and pride. It can be a source of identity for both boys and girls, for both men and women. And the idea that you would be forced to shave your head or cut your hair or do anything at all to your hair, besides, like, if you said, okay, well, he's got to keep it tied up at all times. That's one thing. Okay, fine. Right. He's got to keep it tied up when he's in school. It's got to be this. I get it. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying he has to literally cut it. So that way, if he were to wear it down, it won't touch his collar. How is that fair?
Not at all.
Oh, I was so disgusted by this one just because it has the religious cultural aspect to it. It's not just a personal choice kind of thing. And, seeing his father's hair, like his father's hair down to his knees. You know what I mean? The man's hair is long. Yeah. This is something that the men in his family do. And you're telling him, in essence, that you are going to penalize him and not allow him this amazing moment that he has earned because he won't bow to your white societal ideas of what is well-groomed in a young man.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. In 2020.
Huh.
But we're post-racial, right? Totally post-racial, totally post-racism. This is a post-racist society, post-racial society. We don't have any of those things anymore, right? That's all before. That has nothing to do with now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I seen the story. I seen the story earlier, and I just got angry and thought about how in the workplace they allow certain ethnicities to not wear deodorant and also give them a room and time off work to pray several times a day. But I'm going to leave that alone because I'm just getting angry.
Well, no, you know what? I'm not good for a second, because short of them not having, um, what is that? South Asia, children of South Asian, or is that East Asian? I think it's East Asia. I don't know, wherever they're from. Um, descent, who actually do have this in their religious and cultural practices as well. So a lot of I don't know if y'all have seen this, but there are actually religious and cultural practices for some of them, and I don't want to name which countries because and which faiths because I don't remember exactly, where boys are not supposed to cut their hair and they don't. So underneath their head coverings that they are allowed to wear for religious reasons, their hair is actually very long. And they do not cut their hair. You're not supposed to. So now in those cases, do you inspect them too? And so if you don't, okay, well then can he wear a Rastafari cap every day so you can't see his hair? Because I actually fought that issue. Exactly what you're talking about with the head coverings thing. So, because
Uh-huh.
I'm me, and I don't know. I guess I got bored a lot in high school, so I decided to fight issues that I just thought just didn't make sense. So, my whole thing was this: girls in Muslim religions are allowed to wear their hijab, right? They're allowed to cover their heads because culturally, religiously, it's a requirement. Well, here was
Right.
my thing. I was baptized recently at that point as an apostolic. And so women obviously in church covered their heads, but the way that kind of like the Jamaican old school pious crowd work is they cover their heads in general. You walk around 24/7 with your head covered at all times. And the reason why is because it says in the Bible, in the Christian Bible that dominates this country, it says that women should have their heads covered while praying. And it also says in the Bible that you should always have basically a prayer going subconsciously all the time, 24/7. You should always be praying. So if that's the case, then since you should always be praying anyway, your head should always be covered. Well, and that logically made sense. And then it grated at me that, well, that's what we believe and that's what we practice, but the second we get to work we got to take off our hat. The second we get to school we have to take off our hat. Now, I didn't fight this issue because it grated at me. I fought this issue honestly because it's something to do with my hair. I'm gonna be real. But I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna cover my head today. And I didn't just wear a baseball cap. Okay, y'all. I actually wrapped my head the way I would wrap my head to go to church. I wrapped my head in a proper wrap. You can kind of think about it. It was kind of like a mix between, if you think about like an African head wrap, kind of like that, and a mix between that and like say a turban. And it was actually really nice. I used an actual a proper material and whatever. I didn't just sit there and just throw a baseball cap on for this. I wore properly. And the rest of my classes, I gave them my explanation. They said, all right, cool. I said, all right. Until I got to the library. The library said no. And I said, you just let that chick walk in. Her head's covered. Well, that's because it's her religion and her culture. I said, it's mine too. What religion are you? Christian, specifically apostolic? Come on. That's bullshit. Look at you. Right? Like, and I'm like, wait, are you saying that Christianity's bullshit? She said, no, I'm Christian, and I know that's not a requirement to make our God happy. And I said, well, obviously you don't know your Bible very well, honey, do you? But you're not apostolic, you're not black, you're not from Jamaica, so obviously you don't know our practices. But actually, yeah, we are supposed to. What we've done, though, is we've bowed to white society, trying to make ourselves acceptable in your eyes, which of course will never happen. I don't know why we keep trying to do that, but we've bowed to y'all. And we take all of our head coverings off when we get here. So that way you find us acceptable. So that way we don't muddy the waters. But see, it's starting to bother me. We have to do that when they just got here and they can just waltz in with their heads covered and everyone's good with this. So I think I should be allowed to cover my head as well, as it says in the Bible and is practiced by our religion. Got sent to the office. All right, cool. So now I tell the vice principal, who trusts me. This vice principal has expelled me from school at this point no less than 3 times. I always get right back into school because my parents know you can go to the school board and fight, and if your fight is honorable, your kid's back in school. So I knew already. I was well prepared for her to kick me out of school. So she expels me, and then she got the call back from my mom, and she just asked my mom questions. She didn't give my mom any information at all. She just asked my mom questions. My mom answered. Her answers match up exactly with what I said. I didn't even tell my mom what I was doing that day. Because me
Oh,
and my mom, yeah, I hadn't told her what I was going to be doing. Me and my mom weren't even really on speaking terms at the time. And so my mom just answered the questions honestly because it's actually true. This is actually everything I said was true. And she pulled my expulsion. But see, I had to do all of that, and I was doing that to prove the point that that was what was going to happen. And that's something that we do so often, and it's kind of disturbing that we continue to do it because what we need to recognize is that we want to be accepted by them and embraced by them because what we're trying to do is blend into them, and we can't blend into them. So we need to be accepted by ourselves. We need to accept us. We need to love and know us. And then we have to be willing to fight for us. This is an us thing now, right? What is my culture? What is my practice? Every black person on the planet doesn't have to relate to that fight and to that culture and to that practice, but I do. And if I relate to it, I don't have to put it down and walk away from it because white people don't do it. Right? I shouldn't have to because, again, if you can see other religions that don't have to do that, other cultures that don't have to do that, then recognize that your culture, your belief, and your practices are just as valid as theirs. Your black skin does not make your culture, belief, religion, or practices of the religion less valid than someone else's. It really doesn't. We need to figure that out.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I will do the uh, judge and jury
Mm.
and close us out. I know
Oh,
you all know what that is.
always my favorite part. All right, all right. What you got for us?
Okay. All right. I'll show the thingy here. I'm pretty sure you all know what it is, but in case you miss it, there it is. I know you kind of miss seeing that. You're like, I ain't see that in a while. Where's that mallet at? But there it is. Okay. Now let me show you what I am judging.
Mm.
Okay, share screen. Why do I keep clicking on the actual tab instead of clicking on the thing? Alrighty. Woman found with turtle inside her vagina after she complained of pain.
See, I told you. Where the sharp file? Okay, I'm gonna mute. Sorry, what?
I don't know. Let me continue. And this was a British woman, she was found with a dead turtle inside her vagina. The expat was taken to the hospital in, how you pronounce that, Tenerife, Spain, after experiencing severe abdominal pains. Her doctors made the shocking discovery. Doom, 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 doom. It was unclear how the turtle ended up inside of the woman. She told Doc she has no recollection of it being put there at all. Of course you don't. But the next line will explain it all, everyone. She says she began experiencing pain 2 days after going out partying with British friends. That's all I gotta say. Let me go back so you can just while I give this lecture here. What has happened with this young lady? She's out partying. She's having a good old time. I don't know how old she was, but she was partying with her friends. End up getting drunk, maybe even high. I don't know what her pleasure was, but it was entirely too much of it. And the folks had a little fun with her. She passed out, and they just started stuffing things there. And this is what they decided to stuff in her.
Wow. The-
And my verdict is no more drinking, partying for you for a while until you get to a certain age. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle your liquor. You can't handle nothing, girl.
mm,
You don't need no partying. Just go ahead, get your education, hang out a little bit, with your friends, but you stay off of everything. You wait till you become a fully made woman.
mm,
Lay off of it, lady. You're doing too much,
mm,
young lady. You're doing too much.
mm. I gotta say though, Shar, I gotta say for me, I mean, cool, white girl wasted is kind of fun. I've been white girl wasted, got a lot of white girls, so when you get to that place, but I gotta say this, and you think about things that happen to people when they pass out. They've been drinking. They think they're with a group of people that they trust, and when they pass out, they wake up. Something's been done to them. Now, in movies they make jokes about it. People getting their hand put inside of a bowl of warm water so they wet themselves, or getting writing on their face and permanent marker, stuff like that. But then you get the more serious stuff, like Jada Pose, for example, and everyone knows that one, that horrible trend that is like, oh, hey, let's all celebrate this girl's sexual assault by posing like the end result of her sexual assault and then making that go viral, and like, ew, people are disgusting. But here's the thing, right? When I hear this story, I don't blame the white girl who got white girl wasted. I don't. And the reason why is because she didn't do it to herself. She got wasted with friends that she trusted, and she passed out. I blame the disgusting human beings that she had in her vicinity that thought it was okay that because their friend was drunk and passed out that they stick things into her vagina. This is literally, by definition, sexual assault. Because it's penetrating her vagina, you might even get an argument for rape, but it's at least sexual assault. And they are disgusting human beings. So my verdict would be, you need new friends. You lose every friend you have now, and you get new friends, because there may be some counseling for you to figure out why you are friends with a group of people who have so little love and respect for you, that they could do something like that to you, and be okay with that. Be okay with joking around about that behind your back. Be okay with putting a living thing into your body. Like, I can't even imagine. To me, that's what it comes to. They put a living thing into her body that could have
Yeah,
done anything to her, and they didn't care. And then they not okay, fine. So you're drunk, high, stupid that night, and you thought it was funny. Cool.
mm,
Not cool, but fine. Then you wake up in the morning and you know you did it, and you don't say anything. That's where I have an issue. That part right there, where you don't say anything now. Now, you don't have to claim it. You can say, I heard. I heard. Right? Even though you watched it. You might have a video of it because you're the one on the video laughing. But you say, listen, I heard. Listen, I heard. I don't know what happened because I wasn't there. But I heard that they might have stuck some stuff in you, girl. Or you could even try to put her inside the story so that way she doesn't try to go to the police or something. I heard you were doing crazy stuff and you put a bunch of stuff inside of you last night. Like, did you this is gonna sound weird, but did you check your vagina? Right? Something. Right? Y'all had your disgusting little devious devilish fun with this girl. All right, fine. Now make sure that she's not going to die of toxic shock or something worse, or a turtle, I don't know, laying eggs inside of her, or biting her, and like that. You don't know what that could have done to her. Your vagina, like your anus, is actually a place that absorbs medication into your body exceptionally well. That means any type of toxin, decaying flesh, all of those things are going to be absorbed into her bloodstream incredibly well. And they didn't care. They didn't put jacks inside of her or something, like the little jacks in a ball, or dominoes, or, something plastic. Something, okay, fine. If it's a little dirty, she might get screwed. But no, they put a living thing inside of her. Like, I decree that you lose every friend that you've ever had. Then you get some counseling, and then you have to find new friends, ones that actually like and respect you, because apparently you don't know anyone like that, and you seem to think it's okay for you to be friends with people who have this low of an opinion of you. Like, oh my god damn. mm,
Whew.
mm,
Verdict has been rendered.
mm.
You heard it here, folks.
Right? Wow. Although, yeah, I mean, how wasted you gotta be that you don't, like, I mean, how wasted are you on a regular level, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that you have a whole turtle inside of you and you don't feel it? Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure it didn't die immediately, right?
No, no,
that that's a
not at
pretty
all.
big thing. Like,
She
it
knew.
wasn't.
See, I don't give her that much credit because she knew something was going on. She been touched. She felt something going on. She thought it was the guys that she was having fun with or whatever. But that's why I just said lay off everything, sister. You don't get nothing till you of age. I'm gonna put you to 30 years old. Then you can go ahead and do those little things that you were doing. But right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little concerned about you. Think you need to
Mm-hmm.
grow up first. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
just
Oh,
my
it's all of the above. All of the above. We need all of it. No drinking, no drugs, no partying, no nothing. You lose every friend you have, and you go to counseling. And then you have to make all new friends. You never get to be friends with the old ones either. No, yeah. This is a whole collective thing. Okay, she needs all of it. All of it. Wow. Man, Shar, I don't know where. Like, I know you said they find you, but God, wherever you are, that these things find you, maybe you need to go be somewhere else. How do you? These things are scary.
hey. It's for the show. It's for the show. I want to thank you guys for coming and tuning in, checking us out, listening to us, listen to our stories. Thank you for your likes, your thumbs up, your hand claps, participation in the chat room,
Hmm.
any financial donations you'll give. Appreciate you in advance. We had a great
Yes.
time. And next week, we'll have a guest, and you'll see it posted probably about Wednesday.
Ooh.
And then Saturday will be just a regular show. But I want you guys to take care and thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you.
Yes, and I apologize, y'all. I did not go into the chat room even once today. I am not feeling too well because of this flu thing I told y'all about, so I didn't really check nothing. But I love you all. Hello to everyone. Good night to everyone. Cheers to everyone. You are all beautiful people. Okay, you are all beautiful people, and Ruby still loves you. All right.
Have a great weekend and week, guys, and see you next week.
All
Peace.
right. Cheers, y'all.